Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek. I am sucking on a cough drop. My throat's a little scratchy, but bear with me on that. Okay, I gotta... I didn't realize this has like so many places my name. A package arrived today, this little one. And it's a very special package. Hey, K Munin. And I'm going to unbox this thing. It's a pretty cool thing, I hope. I have no idea what it's going to look like, but it's a pretty special package. I'm actually just going to open it up a bit, just to get the process started here a little bit. One sec here. Okay. I just want to get it out of all the things with my address on it. So here's the package. And it says Alan. So it's meant for me. So hey Ozzy. So yeah, so it should be a pretty cool little package that we got here today. And this one comes with a special thank you to all the people who watch my channel. I wanted to say thank you for everyone that watched my channel. And it's because of people that watch my channel that I got this special package. And yeah, so hi Fan for Collecting, hi Lyle. So yeah, so if you've been watching my channel, if you enjoy my content, it's because of you that I got this package. So you're probably wondering, what is the package? What is this all about? Well, I'm gonna open it up. Not too much suspense. I'm gonna try to do this quickly. Okay, so we gotta open it up a bit. Okay. One sec here. A little bit taped down. There we go. Okay. So this is the package. Comes with a little letter. So let's see what the letter says. Okay, so the letter, I'm going to read the letter and then I'm going to open up the package. So here's the letter. Alan, congratulations on your 2023 CBC Awards win. If you unbox your trophies on YouTube, please be sure to tag BrainLCS and post it on your IG. Please tag the CBCA award. The 2024 CBCA Awards will kick off in the spring of 2024. I hope you get involved and spread the word. CBCAawards.org will have all the latest updates. Thanks again. Sincerely, CBC Awards Community. So that's what the letter says. That's pretty cool. And then we got the box. And on the box, it says, unboxing comic 1,000 to 4,999. And I'm the award winner for that category. So that's what this is all about. So let me just open this up a little bit. Oh, whoa, it's got a whole bunch of thingies inside. One sec. Okay. So we got to say thank you to BrainLCS. He's the guy that actually started the CBC Awards. And basically, he's just encouraging people in the community to celebrate people in the community. So BrainLCS, thank you. And then I got a whole bunch of these little stickers. So, wait, am I doing that backwards? Wait, this way. Okay, so CBCA award winner, cool. And then we got this one, 2023 CBCA Awards. So that's pretty cool. Comic Community Awards. And then let me get this out. Oh, it's really cool. So it's in this little fancy box. So this, I'm not even sure if you can see it. It says comicbookcommunityawards.org. Winner, CBCA. Best unboxing video or series, tier 1,000 to 4,999 subs. Comic Collector Geek. So yeah, so that's the award. Now, there's batteries. I'm gonna light this sucker up. There's batteries in here, so we're gonna light it up and see what it looks like when it's all lit up. One sec here. Hopefully get these out, and we'll light this thing up and see what it looks like when it's all lit up. So it has batteries in the bottom. Let's see. Gotta put that one in. That one. That one. 3. Okay. How do I turn this thing on? Okay. Isn't that cool? It changes colors. Ooh, isn't that fancy? So yeah, so this is the award. You can kind of, isn't that cool? Hey, Jerry. Jerry's another winner. He also won. He won for best comic restoration, which is kind of funny because he doesn't do restoration. He does conservation, but he won for best restoration. So yeah, so Jerry, did you get your award yet? So yeah, I thought this was pretty great. Yeah, I'll put it somewhere behind me. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it, but I'm going to put it so you guys can see it behind me, and then I can always flex that I have this cool award. So yeah, I just this is really cool. So I was quite excited to win this. I really do want to thank all the people that watch my videos. Get a life. Stop watching my videos. No, just joking. I can't believe people watch my videos. I'm really impressed that people watch my videos. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. So yeah, so best unboxing. So yeah, so I figured the best way to do this is as an unboxing. So this was an unboxing video for the award for best unboxing. So yeah, not really much more to say than that. Hey, K-pop. Hey, Collecto6. So yeah, so I was quite excited. So I'm going to put this behind me so you guys can see it in the background. And then I can always have this nice little trophy to remind me of all the support that the community has given me. And I'm really appreciative, actually. You guys are awesome. Like, I can't believe how great the comic community is. They're like a whole bunch of really, really, really nice people that are form this community. So I'm really, really thankful to be part of it and all, and to win a little trophy is kind of a cool thing for me. So yeah, so that's that was it for this one. If you haven't watched today's video, I wanted to give a little bit of an update about today's video that I posted earlier today. So today's video I was posting out about in Canada, it's actually illegal to own comics or to own crime comics. And that law has been recently appealed. It was on the books from 1949, and I guess it was repealed in 2018. So go watch that video, and you can see like it's a really crazy law. It's like if you have any comics that involve crime, you can go to jail for up to 2 years, which is pretty crazy. So they repealed it, at least. So yeah. People watch your videos because you're knowledgeable and you have a great community. Yes, there is a great community. Not always most knowledgeable, but I try to pretend to be. I try to know as much as I can, like about whatever I can. So yeah, so I was, it's pretty exciting. I was pretty excited about this. So yeah, I'm like such a cool thing. I'm not sure, where should I put this? Let's see. Okay, what I might do, let's see. Yeah, figure out where this can work. One sec here. 1 second. Where did I put it there? I do this. Let's see. I'm testing out the placement in the behind me, and that totally does not work. See, yeah, see, see you in prison. So you never know. I have so much contraband in this room for crime comics. And, okay, so I got to do like something like that. I don't know how to. I got to figure out how to display it. Maybe. Okay, so that's not a good place. One sec here. Okay, sorry, Alfred, you gotta move. And okay, let's see. I'm just testing out different display places, and I don't know something about the where I sit. I keep on blocking it with my body. One sec here. Gotta go this way. Oh, that's not really good. Okay, I gotta figure it out. So I'm gonna figure out how to display it, and then yeah, I think I'll display it one up higher. I don't know. Maybe. I'm gonna switch things around. Just trust me. Bear with me. Let's go with that. Okay, let's try that one. Looks really far in the distance. It's like, but okay. It's so yeah. You're saying above the slave girl, but I don't know. That's kind of high up. I don't know. Do you think above the slave girl? Oh, it looks good there. Well, there I should say. Okay, so I'm gonna. You guys tell me. Does it look good right where it is now, or I'll try Steve's suggestion. Take this. Of course, this is impossible to take down. Okay. I'll put this over. What's like here? Okay, so that was the fight that was up there. Really cool fight comic. Okay. Okay. So the only problem is now it has to have something behind it. Hey, one sec here. Just bear with me. This is like so much involved just to have it display properly. Does that work? I don't know. Does that work or it looks stupid? That looks stupid. It's like so dumb. So I'm not even sure. Can you even see what that is? Like, does it look really dumb? So you tell me, there or there? Hey, Lawrence. So yeah. See, I think it looks bad where it is. I think I should put it back here. So, okay, so bear with me again. Back to this. So how about that? Wait. Shoot. That. Does that look good? So you guys, does it look good where it is now? Right there? Right there. It's hard to point to things when you're doing it backwards. So does that look good? Okay, so we're gonna go with that. You guys, the community has spoken, and that's where the war is gonna say. So yes, hi Kenneth. Okay, so I'm gonna have to put my comics back up there. Yeah, see that's what I'm thinking. It needs like something in the darkness. It needs to be in the dark spot so that it can kind of glow. Can you actually see what the award says? I don't even know if you can read it from there. But yeah. It's like so crazy. Actually, the comic that I moved is it's a pretty cool comic. I'm not sure if you can see it. Isn't that a cool comic? This is Fight 44. Classic bondage, torture cover, decapitation, and lingerie panels. This comic has it all. Just a cool comic. That's why it was on my wall. I have some pretty cool comics on my wall. That was one of them that I really liked. So that was why it was up there. Yeah, I figured it was too far to read. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, what if I do this? Do 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 do. Do 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 do. illegal in Canada. Yeah. Hey, Paul. So yeah, can you read it now? I feel like I'm like, I don't know. So there, I zoomed in. This is me zooming in by just moving my camera closer. I'm not sure how far I can go before things will fall over. But how about that? Can you see things better? You like that? Tell me. I don't know. I can't tell. So yeah. So actually that kind of makes the wall, you can see the comics on the wall a bit better. You can make a few of, but okay. You can make out a few details, but in no way can you read it. It's too small. It needs to be about twice as big, and then you could read it probably. But oh well. This is as close as I can get. My desk is like, there's about 5 feet between that thing back there and where I am. But oh well, that's as close as we're gonna get to it. So, but this might be a good spot. Like I can sort of the word looks like a neon sign that would say buy comics here. Yes, buy comics here. Send your money here. I don't know, it's like, yeah, it's hard to read. Like even in the room, it's hard to read actually from this distance. But my eyesight sucks. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how to make it closer. Yeah, gotta figure out how to make it closer. One second. I got an idea. Hmm. One sec here. This will make sense. As this falls down, I don't want that to fall. Okay, so I'm moving things around here. Bear with me. Slide this forward. And then I'll put you back. Okay, how about that? No, that's worse. One sec here. Okay. How about that? Can you read it now? Or maybe I could go. One sec here. I got an idea. Oh, I wish this was easy. I have too much stuff in the way. One sec here. How about now? Can you read it now? It's like totally dark. I just turned off the lights. Wait. And then I'm in the dark and you can see it. This is the only way you can see it. I don't know. So yeah, just messing around here. Sorry guys. Yeah, it's really dark. I don't know. It's hard to ta-da, yeah. It's like, one sec, you're gonna put back the lights on. So yeah. Okay. So I'm like running around trying to make the lights. Oh shoot, it's one of those. Yeah, newbies will ask what the trophy about the trophy anyways. Yeah, you're probably right. Uh yeah, I think this is as good as it gets too. Still can't see what it says. Yeah, it's hard to read from this distance. The only way is if I could maybe oh, I don't know. It's just too far away. It's actually further away than like, so my hand, I can reach this thing, but then that's another foot back because of the way the boxes are. So it's just, that's as close as it gets though. Oh well. I tried. You gotta make do with what you have. But you can see the comics now behind me a bit better. You can see some of the ones. You can't see this one though, can you? This one's a cool ruler. I really like that one. I gotta change the bag maybe. Yeah. Put a pair of binoculars in front of the phone. Maybe that's what I need to do. I gotta make it so that you guys can. It's like zoomed in on the trophy. It's like I don't know, getting really like at the extreme of how far I can go before things topple over. This is like so precarious. You guys, if you guys saw what I'm doing, it's like so insane. It's like it's not really meant to do this. But I'm just worried my phone's gonna fall at any moment. This is not a good idea. But oh well. How about that? That's as close as I can get. Like I'm really zoomed in, like in terms of the space. So oh well, I tried. Um so yeah, so people will notice it. Yeah, I'm trying to like, it's like a big deal. It's like pretty cool thing. I was up against some pretty stiff competition actually. There was some pretty good channels that I was up against. Like I was up against the Comic Vet, and I was up against Rob Fat Stacks, and I was up against DJ Lynx, and who's the other guy I was up against? There was one other channel. I wasn't as familiar with his channel. So there was some pretty big channels that I was up against, and it was a pretty big deal to win. So I was pretty excited. Um, Actually, the thing I thought I didn't have any hope of winning because one of the DJ Links was actually one of the sponsors for the show, so I thought maybe there would be a little bit of, but he didn't win. I managed to win somehow. Um, I wonder what you'll get nominated for next year. I don't know. It's up to you guys. This is where you guys can next year nominate me for something. I'd like to be nominated for best channel. That'd be cool. And best unboxings is still cool. Like you can nominate me for multiple categories, but nominate me, please. That'd be cool. Yeah. Um, it's always cool. And there's like a whole bunch of really great channels that should be nominated. I'm actually gonna make it a push when the nominations open that I get a whole bunch of channels nominated. Speaking of a good channel, all sorts of words. His is a good channel. You should check him out. And hey, so there's like a bunch of people that have really great channels that are way undersubscribed. Um, and then there's some channels that are really big that probably shouldn't be as big, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, there's some really great channels out there. And I'm gonna probably before the nominations, like once the nominations open up, I'm gonna probably do a show where I recommend just a bunch of channels that I think should be like nominated. Because I think usually what it takes is like multiple nominations before a channel actually gets shortlisted or like makes the actual um top 5 lists that they choose the awards from. So yeah, see, and they should have an Australian comic category because Ozzy he puts out some cool content. You guys should check him out too. He's got a great channel. So there's some really cool channels that are really undersubscribed. And yeah, I want to make it my I don't know rule a thing next year to really promote some of those smaller channels. That's why I do some of the things that I do. Like I actually that's why I do this Comic Friday, cover challenge. Actually, that's one of the goals of it is to kind of promote people that have smaller channels. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, that was kind of the idea behind it. So I feel like I should show some stuff. Do you guys, is there anything you want me to show before I end this live stream? Really, it was about the award. That's all it was. I found some really cool channels thanks to your shout out videos. Yeah, so the shout out videos was not really my idea. That was really due to Big B McFly, who did this, whole idea of comic book shout out. And I think he did a really good job of promoting it. Sadly, he didn't win when he was in the Community Builder Award and he didn't win. Yet he was doing everything he could to try to build the community. But he didn't win. Um, as much as I want to, a great channel like this to grow, you need to be careful about getting the wrong people into the community as well. You're right. You know, I do, but for the most part, people that collect comics, I don't know what it is, but people that collect comics are usually really great people. Like from what I can, like from my experience, the people that collect comics are generally pretty cool. They're really nice people. So far my experience has been fairly positive with the comic book community. I mean, there are, you know, some people with a bit of drama. I'd say that, but for the most part, they're pretty nice people. You know, even the ones that are kind of into the drama are actually fairly nice people. So I have high respect for all the people that are in this community. Um, so yeah, yeah, I think it's just a great bunch of people. We even talk to people in Canada. I know, it's amazing. Why would you talk to people in Canada? You know, it's like, yeah. So we are really we really are the best fans. I think getting picked for your whole life for loving, picked on for your whole life for having something has made us kind. Oh my goodness. And I cannot read. That's why I read comics. I cannot read. So, so yeah, so yeah, it's so true. Like I think one of the things with comic book collecting was it was always one of those hobbies that was kind of a little bit frowned upon. Like, you know, like I was actually looking at some comics today, and I felt like, oh, people are kind of, you know, you almost feel like a little bit uncool collecting comics, and that's maybe why people in the comic book community are so cool. Is that they can all relate to that. They can all relate to the feeling of you know, not being understood. And so when they find other people that kind of fit into that comic book community, they're just super happy. You know, I think that's what it is. I think there is that cool underground thing with comics where it kind of brings us together with this weird hobby and passion that we have. Um, so yeah, so I don't know. I wish I can read it better from this distance, actually. Um, so how about I show some stuff since I got some stuff in front of me. Um, I don't know. Let's see. I have a bunch of books. I feel like showing some books. Have you ever shown trophy covers before? Oh, that's a good question. Have I ever shown trophy covers before? Are there many trophy covers? I'm trying to think of trophy covers. Huh. I don't know. I don't think so. Um, it is a great community. I want to see it grow more and more, but people may just join only start drama and ruin the whole experience. You know, there are people like that that just join out of I don't know, creating drama. Or I felt like during, especially during COVID, I actually felt like there was a lot of people that joined into the comic collecting uh, hobby that didn't necessarily appreciate it the way collectors did. Like they were more just like speculators or people who were just like flippers that just, you know, weren't really in love with the comics the way most of the people in the community are. And in a way, I kind of like this time in terms of the collecting experience where what has happened is all the flippers, all the speculators have kind of left the hobby. That's why the market is so low. You know, the reason like I know you joined during COVID. I know a lot of people that joined. A lot of people came back to the hobby, but they were collectors in the first place. And it's different. It's different. They're not like speculators. They're not that kind of thing. It's more like all comic book collectors are speculators to a certain extent. But what I'm saying is like the ones that really don't appreciate the comics and just they just speculate for the sake of speculation. Um, I I think what has happened now is we're in a phase where the ones that all the people that weren't super interested in comics in the first place have sort of left the hobby, and the ones that are left are ones that truly love the comic books and are all about, hey, this is the next cool book, and this is, and they're like excited that way. Um, Boo to all the specs and flippers. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A little bit of that. I'm not trying to be too mean to them because I think as a collector, you do have a bit of that as part of your nature that, oh, this book is going to be worth $1 million. Like, like Turok #1. How many people have Turok #1? It's going to be my retirement. It's like that kind of thing. Um, those people leaving have brought the comic book prices back down to earth. Now real fans can scoop them up. Yeah. And that's what I think. I mean, there is a bit of overcorrection that I think has happened. I've seen a lot of books. Actually, one of the things, and I was going to make a separate video about it. I was going to talk about new frontiers for collecting, where I was kind of I'm one of those people. I really like to be philosophical about everything I do in life. So I was kind of thinking about different ideas in terms of comic book collecting and where the market could potentially go. So one of the things I remember back in the 90s, everyone, like, there was always like the collectors, and then like of DC versus the collectors of Marvel. And the collectors of DC were always kind of a little bit annoyed by the collectors of Marvel. It was a bit of a rivalry. And the thing was, back then it was all about, real, comic book collectors like DC. And those Marvel collectors, they don't know what they're doing. There's a little bit of that when I remember that during the 90s. And the DC guys would always, always say, someday these Marvel books are going to be worthless and the DC books are going to be worth a fortune. And it still hasn't quite happened that way. Marvel still dominates in terms of the value. But what I was thinking was, talking about those potential frontiers where I think DC is kind of finally coming into its own a bit. The prices for Marvel have they were kind of like this and then dropped really steeply. And what's happened when that happens, when you get that kind of bad taste in your mouth because you paid 20,000 for something and now it's worth 5, that kind of feeling, it kind of makes you a little bit less liking of that thing. That what's happened is Marvel, because it's overcorrected, there a lot of people are kind of gravitating to DC, which didn't really see the major peaks of during COVID that Marvel had. There was a few books, but for the most part, DC books were pretty flat during COVID. Like they went up, but not as much as the Marvel ones did. And so there's a bit of potential there with the DC books that collectors might see them as a safer investment. And so I was kind of thinking about that, speculating about that, and like I was going to make a video talking about that new frontier of DC as it being a collectible and other things like pulps and stuff like that. So I had some ideas. If you guys are interested in that video, I will be making it. So it should be interesting. Disney really dragged Marvel's reputation through the mud. That is true. And it really shouldn't have. Disney should have made great Marvel movies. The problem is you got some really bad eggs at Disney that really ruined it for everybody. They ruined Disney for everybody. So it wasn't just Marvel. They ruined Star Wars. They ruined they ruined everything. And I hope that wiser heads prevail and that Disney gets back on course, because I love Disney. I'm a big Disney fan. I grew up reading Disney comics. That was how I got into comics in the first place. So I really want Disney to come back to its former glory. I grew up Marvel, but matured DC, very much so. Like that was what it was. Like during the 90s, it was very different than now. Back in the 90s, you would see really young collectors, like I was in my teens when like 19 roughly, when I was collecting in the 90s. And I remember that the comic shops were so much more vibrant with younger like collectors. Now you go to the comic shops and it was like all older people. So what would happen is during the 90s, it would be the older collectors that would generally read the DC books, the more mature books. Like DC was always considered more mature, and Marvel was always considered meant for kids. It's, oh, that's a kids comic, you know, like X-Men and stuff like that was more meant for kids. In, you know, not saying that that's true, but I'm just saying that that's how it was perceived. Hi, Sean. Should I get the first appearance of Madam Web or wait it out? Um, so right now, actually, the first appearance of Madam Web, like, had you before the trailer dropped, actually was probably a good time to buy the first appearance of Madam Web. It was really low. Right now, it's bounced back actually, even though people didn't like the trailer. A lot of people criticized the trailer as being too CW. I actually liked the trailer, but the point is, most people criticized it. Um, so but it's still, despite all that, it still has moved up. I'm actually thinking if the movie doesn't do well, um, what you do is you buy it maybe 6 months after the movie, if you really like Madam Web. Um, yeah, I bought my first appearance of Madam Web way back when. Like I bought it like 30 years ago, 30, 40 years ago. So yeah, so that was a long time ago. But yeah, it is a good book in the long term, but right now there's a lot of paranoia about whether or not it's going to be a good movie. Marvel only dominates the silver and newer. Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's if you go back, actually that's not quite true. I'm gonna kind of push back on that a bit, Justin. Um, if you look at the golden age right now, there is a lot of not speculation, but a lot of activity around timely comics. So timely is early Marvel, like Captain America's, Marvel Mystery Comics, Submariner. All of those books have been really spiking lately. So and DC books have been doing really well in the golden age, or you know, they were always doing well. But right now, the pretty much all of those books in the golden age are doing very, very well. Marvel and DC. You're right though. Marvel, once you get into the silver age, the prices are about, I would say about 5 times higher for a Marvel book of equivalent level to a DC book of the same level. And then you would say, like, even though it's 5 times the price, the census numbers are usually 1/2 or even lower, like maybe 1/5 of the Marvel. So it's just insane how much more valuable the Marvel books are, considering they're not as rare as the DC books are. Okay, let me just see here. Not just Marvel, Star Wars, DC, and even Predator wasn't immune to being ruined. Yeah. You know, the Prey movie for Predator, I thought it was okay. Little bit weird, you know, like, you know. I kind of wanted you know, I kind of want the machismo of the original Predator. You know, there was, you know, if you watch the original Predator, that kind of movie is never made anymore, where you see men being men, like real men, like men with muscles on top of muscles and holding big guns and being ultra masculine. You don't see that kind of movie anymore, and I kind of want Predator to be that, because what you want in a Predator movie is that kind of uh, sophisticated hunter versus sophisticated like prey. Like the prey has to be like, the prey is us. We're the prey. Um, and the predator has to go after that apex prey. You know, like it has to go after the prey that is just badass. And because it wants to hunt the most powerful. It's like going after lions. You don't go after, you know, if right now what, you know, the original Predator movie was everybody was a lion. Nowadays the movies are everybody's a rabbit. It's just not as interesting when the Predator is up against rabbits. You know, it's just the Prey movie, she was kind of a wimp. She was kind of a bad hunter. She just didn't really have the gravitas that the original Predator movie had, that the original men in the Predator movie had. So you're right about that to a certain extent, but I still enjoyed it, strangely. Um, do you like Disney more than Warner Brothers? I really haven't thought about what Warner Brothers has produced recently. To tell you the truth, I've almost felt like Warner Brothers has become almost like a forgotten company. Um, but I'm not a big fan of Disney right now, so I don't know what to say. Disney really hasn't produced very much of quality lately. The last thing that I remember of quality was Rogue One. I really enjoyed Rogue One. I thought that was a good movie. Um, and the last season of Loki was okay. I thought it was okay. So, and I thought the Mandalorian first season was good. Good God, you don't look a day over 35. I'm actually 50 years old. I'm really old. So yeah, thank you though. I appreciate that. Um, I've never heard anyone talk about Madam Web trailer, the Madam Web till the trailer. I would wait, and it would be more than likely that she'd be a She-Hulk scenario. I do see that as well. Madam Web, in terms of the comics, is actually kind of a cool character and has like a lot of significance in the Spider-Man story. Whether or not they do her right in the movie is debatable. Because one of the problems, there's a couple issues with Sony. Sony has to use the characters. So the reason it's trying to create this, currently they're trying to create this Spider-Verse, where they show a whole bunch of different Spider-Man characters in order to keep the licensing rights to those characters. And I feel like they are just releasing this movie with that in mind, rather than it trying to be a great movie and be the best movie ever and win audiences over. It's more about maintaining IP than it is about building an audience. Um, so it might be a total bomb of a movie, and if it's a bomb of a movie, any of those characters might not be reused, which is kind of sad. Doesn't make much sense, but I think that's what's a little bit of what's happening. Hey Joe, Black Box Silver and Bronze, and hi who dat. Yeah, see, I actually didn't mind. Like, I criticized the Predator Prey movie. The original Predator movie was awesome. The Prey movie I thought was okay. Actually thought the girl was kind of cool in a way. I liked the fact that she had this unrealistic the rope with the axe on it, and she could bring it back. That was cool, but totally unrealistic. But I thought it was cool. Um, Getting killed by a little girl does not work for Predator. That's my point. So that's what I'm saying. In the old days, movies were the lion. Like, men were lions. Nowadays, men are wimpy, and or either that or they're replaced by girls. It's not a good fit for movies. I think, let men be men is my point. It's just, it makes movies much more interesting. Nowadays it's the the characters are kind of like rabbits. They're kind of wimpy and like not really there's not much threat there. Um Clint Eastwood will don the cape and cowl. Uh Geriatric Batman. See, I actually think like Clint Eastwood is a guy I really respect. Actually, I enjoy his movies. Gran Torino is a great movie. There's a bunch of movies that he's done. Every time I've been amazed by how awesome his movies are, even though he's super old now. But I don't think he would be suitable for Batman, obviously. But he is a great director and writer. Um, yeah, but I kind of wish they would bring some of that Clint Eastwood spirit into movies and into a lot of the people that act in those movies. Like, they just don't have that. that gravitas of Dirty Harry. I think that's what we're lacking nowadays. Um, Hi, Matt Crush. Hi, Steve White. Sony has been only releasing Spider-Man anything out of necessity for holding licenses. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, that was really my point. Should Lex Luthor get his own movie like the Joker? That would be cool. Actually, I think that's a really great idea. That would be really cool. I think, that kind of I like the origin of bad guys kind of movies. I like the Joker movie, I thought was a really good movie because it was actually one of the best DC movies of late. Um, I think showing Lex Luthor kind of becoming Lex Luthor would be a really cool movie. And I think it would be one where it'd be cool if they had it where you could still bring in the superhero and show why um, Lex Luthor is such a threat to like Superman or somebody like that. I always liked when the bad guy is really powerful and that the superhero has to kind of overcome like some major obstacle to be able to beat that bad guy. So I'd love to see a Lex Luthor movie where they really show Lex Luthor's threat power. I mean, Lex Luthor is like ruthless. He's like super smart and he's super rich and he uses all of those things kind of like he's like almost like the bad version of Batman, really. Um, and I think that could be a really interesting movie. Uh, Crocodile Dundee versus Predator. That'd be funny. Um, so yeah, one sec. An interesting Spider-Man character to get a movie would be Black Cat. Oh, um, so if they did Black Cat correctly, I'd love it. Make her ultra sexy, make her like really like like what she should be, based on the comics. Um, yeah. Nowadays, I think they would do her terribly wrong. So I wouldn't have much hope. I wouldn't want certain characters to be done now in today's modern audience kind of style. Um, but Black Cat would be a cool one. I'd love to see Black Cat in the movies. That'd be, she's like one of those girl characters that I really like. I like my good girls. So um, I'd really like her done. I like characters to be really, really sexily done. Like, and just, you know, and be cool. But I don't think they can do that nowadays. Um, we're here to praise the victory of a wonderful comic, a wonderful YouTube creator. Thank you, Stephen. Yes, he is right. Um, who's better, Black Cat or Catwoman? I'm actually in the Catwoman. I prefer Catwoman of the two, and I think that they're very similar characters in a way. Um, but yeah, I'm a Catwoman fan. But we can have a poll. Who likes Catwoman? Who likes Black Cat? You know, I think Catwoman has a bit more history behind her, so I think she's a much more established character. I really liked Jim Van Lant's version of Catwoman. I found his run of Catwoman was really good. That was the one I kind of grew up with. And then I later started reading the Golden Age Catwoman in the original Batman comics. So yeah, I was a big fan of Catwoman. I really, she's like one of my favorite female characters. I'd say maybe number three of my favorite all-time characters, actually. I gravitate towards the female characters more than the male characters. I think they're cooler. I like my sexy women. So yeah, I don't know. But I'd love to see both get a proper movie. I'd love to see Catwoman get a proper movie. Um, you know, what they should have done way back when Michelle Pfeiffer was playing Catwoman is they should have just made that a full length Catwoman movie. I thought that was she was the one good thing about the movie that she was in. I really enjoyed Catwoman when she was done by Michelle Pfeiffer. Um Yeah, so I was just saying that basically, Catwoman get a solo movie, but not played by Halle Berry, played by Alexandra Daddario. I don't know who she is. I'm gonna look her up afterwards, but I'm not familiar with that actress. I really did like Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. She's one of my favorite Catwoman. Um, Catwoman has more history, but I feel Black Cat has a more unique character. Maybe. I really like Catwoman, so I feel like I'd be betraying my love for Catwoman if I said that I think Black Cat is better. Um, you just brought back some happy memories, buddy. Thank you. I'm glad I did that. You know, I've like I'm not sure what you guys think, but did you guys when you watch Michelle Pfeiffer be Catwoman, wasn't that like the best portrayal of Catwoman? I just thought that was really well done. You see this kind of mousy girl, and she could play that mousy girl, and then she could play the seductress. Like she could go that very extreme versions of the same character. And I thought that was really interesting. Made it a really cool movie. I just liked her whole origin story. And it was such a brutal origin story. So I thought that was really interesting. I just wish they had done more with it. So yeah, but I really liked Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. I didn't like Halle Berry as Catwoman. I think Halle Berry totally failed as Catwoman. But Michelle Pfeiffer was awesome. Um, they have introduced a female predator yet. What what that would be interesting. I'm not really sure about that. In a way, for me, predator has to be male. I'm sexist that way. I'll just say I'm sexist because I think predator should be just that, typical male, go out and hunt, kill something. That kind of manly man. It just has to be that. You know, it's almost like disrespectful to the 80s like machismo thing where if you try to make it too girly. I just want to keep it like that strict, like testosterone, like to the max level kind of thing. Um, Michelle was the best. See, that's what I said. Um, Catwoman has been really developed beautifully, uh, far more than the derivative Black Cat. Go with the original. See, that's what I was thinking. What about Anne Hathaway as Catwoman? So I actually didn't mind Anne Hathaway as Catwoman, but I felt like the writing of that movie wasn't the best. So I felt like it was a little bit weak. Um, Yeah, I don't know. Something was not right about that movie. There was just I forgot. I can barely even remember the movie. That's a bad sign about it too. But they really did show her as being the cat burglar, which was good. Just I felt that it was a bit weak. But I like Anne Hathaway. I thought she was total babe. Um, Barbarian Kung Fu. She is way too hot to play an unnoticed secretary, in my opinion. But she was a fantastic Catwoman for sure. Actually, when Michelle Pfeiffer was doing the mousy kind of girl, she kind of reminded me of a librarian, that kind of like, you know, subdued passion. Like that kind of like, something's, you can sense that it's there, but it's kind of held back. I thought she did that quite well. So I don't know, I really enjoyed her performance, to tell you the truth. um there have been many female predators in comics and novels in the years. So I haven't read a lot of the Predator comics, so I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken in that. So I don't know. Have they been good? I don't like, I don't know. I haven't really read much Predator comics. Um, it seems like Anne Hathaway was not even there. See, that's what I'm saying. There was something not quite right about it. I thought she looked the part, like there was something there, but it wasn't quite right. Margot Robbie would have been a good Catwoman. I agree. I like Margot Robbie. Um, I kind of felt like she kind of ruined the Harley Quinn though. Like she was good, but like Birds of Prey, for example, was a really bad movie. Um, I feel like they Margot Robbie has a tendency of going a bit too far with the character. I kind of want her to tone it down a bit. Um, yeah, but I actually do like her as Harley Quinn, but I felt like she was a little bit over the top. I don't know. It's hard to explain on that one, but did you like the hybrid Predator and Alien when they did half Alien Predator? Don't know it. Was that in the comics or in the movie? I don't remember that. Sorry. Sexy as hell is another way, a good way to put it. Yes, yes, I agree. One sec here. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. Do you consider Black Cat to be a kind of ripoff of Catwoman? Yes, I do. Yes. Um, that was Robbie's direction, not her. Yeah, that's why I felt. Um, so yeah, so Black Cat is a derivative character of Catwoman. I think what they were trying to do was like Marvel tries to have its own version of DC characters, and DC tries to have its own version of Marvel characters. So I felt like Black Cat was really them trying to get that Catwoman into Marvel. So um, let's see, yeah. Um, who's the best female Batman villain? So obviously you got the standard ones. You got Catwoman, you got Poison Ivy, you got what's it called? Even the original Batwoman was kind of not, well, she wasn't really a villain, but she was kind of a rival to Batman. And you have who are some other female villains? Why am I forgetting? Well, you got Harley Quinn, obviously. Poison Ivy. I'm trying to think of all the female villains. Um, I'm I always blank whenever people ask me, "Oh, what's name off some of?" I'm like always trying to remember all things. Um, but those are the ones I can think off the top of my head. Picking the right actor and character portrayal are very important. These are two reasons why anime characters are especially so difficult to do properly perform on screen. Yeah, it's for the most part, um, like I feel like anime suffers the Disney effect. And I'll explain that. So if you like when you do an animation, especially like the way Japanese animation is done, is Japanese people are very stoic in real life. They're very non-emotional. They don't show really any emotion at all. Like when you go to Japan, it's like very flat in terms of the way people present themselves. In anime, though, they're over the top. Everyone's like over the top emotion, like super super expressive. Okay, and then what happens though is when you try to translate that into live action, it doesn't work because it's just like the Disney thing where when you take animals and you try to have them have expressions, it doesn't work. It just looks weird. And so the same thing happens, like where you can't really translate that anime into live action. So a lot of live actions really don't perform well because of that effect, where it just doesn't translate into like that's not how people would behave. And with anime, you can sort of be a little bit more open minded about the over the top action or over the top emotion, but with live action, people take it a little bit too seriously, and they don't want to see those kind of overly expressive things. But yes, Black Canary would be another villain. Um, I always think of Black Canary with being with the Flash. Um, but yeah. Um, oh, Tyler Gould is another. Yes. So she's another Ra's al Ghul's daughter. Yeah. She's a good one. What do you think of the Craven movie? I'd like to see it. I think it might be interesting. I like the fact that they're going with the R rating. I think sometimes, like, I think we, as fans, like a lot of the time, they like the movie studios will kind of crap on the fans, especially lately. But I think they actually do listen. So what happened with Morbius was they made a movie and they try to make it PG so that they could have a greater audience. And in doing so, they kind of watered down the movie and made it kind of crappy. um, it looked like actually it could have been a great movie. Like if you watch the Morbius movie, it starts out really, really well. It's actually a really good movie, and then it just totally loses it at the end. And you can tell part of the thing was that it was this uh, PG kind of element to it. Um, with Craven, they decided, hey, we're not going to make that same mistake. They're going to go with that full R rating. So I think they can, make it as a serious movie with some serious consequences and serious action, and might be good. So I'm hoping that what I think the big mistake that all of the movie companies have made in terms of these superhero movies is they want to be Endgame. They want to make something that's like this whole, like, has to be like this whole trilogy, has to be like build up like from 10 different movies to get to that point, and it has to be like an epic situation where it's like the whole universe is at stake, and they have that crazy high standard. I would actually prefer, and this is why I like the Shazam movie. I prefer just a good popcorn flick where you go in, you watch it, it's fun, it's entertaining, and there's not like, it doesn't have to be like the end of the world situation where the stakes are super high, that they save the world or whatever. I think it can be a little bit more simple, just a fun story, keep it a little bit lighter and reduce the budget even. Like, you know, I'd rather them make 10 movies that are mid-budget than one blockbuster, massive blockbuster. I feel like we should move away from doing these big blockbusters where they have crazy budgets, and if it fails, then it brings down the whole industry. Making smaller movies that are interesting to watch, fun to watch, would be a better approach, in my opinion. But okay, talking about female characters, I don't see too many Red Sonja fans. I actually like I like Red Sonja. I'm a big Red Sonja fan. Um, I'd like to see her done right. Hopefully, that she will be done right. There's supposed to be a movie with her. It's coming out. I'm not sure when. Um, isn't it amazing that Green Goblin is Spider-Man's number one villain, but he hasn't shown up as much as the Joker or Lex Luthor? Um, that's not true. If you look at the last few Spider-Man movies and Green Goblins and pretty much most of them, he's a fairly common character. Um, in terms of the comics, you're right though. I think they tried to bring back the Green Goblin, and they're coming out with a whole bunch of different versions of the Goblin. Um, but in terms of the movies, he's been back. Uh, but in terms of the comics, you might be right on that though. Nightshade was a really cool, but not fleshed out yet. Um, and what else? You have a great collection. Thanks. Thank you. Hi. And Disney knows all about big blockbuster flops. Throwing money at film does not mean box office does not mean box office success. And that's really kind of the problem, that they put in these massive, massive budgets, and it makes it very hard for them to succeed. Um, One of the things that they should really learn from is horror movies. If you look at horror movies like Five Nights at Freddy's, the budgets are almost nothing. Like they have really small budgets, and yet they're very profitable. They can make big money because they're not trying to like, reinvent the wheel or like create some, you know, life altering experience. They're just trying to be entertaining. and they go in with a modest budget. They go in with some unknown actors even, and often what happens is you get new talent being discovered, you get cool story writing, you get sort of interesting plots, you get, some fun things happening, and you get a good popcorn movie at the end of the day. A few jump scares and, people are happy. Sometimes it doesn't take much to entertain people. My channel is a good example of that. you know, it's like one of those things like, you know, we just want to be entertained at the end of the day. And I think they go too far um, in all the other stuff that they're doing, and they miss the main point of making a movie, which is ultimately just to entertain the audience. Um, hey, Night Tiger. Um, very glad to see you. So yeah, so those are some of my I don't know. I feel sadly I feel horror movies are all about jump scares and nothing else. That's true. A lot of the, a lot of the I'm not saying that it's like the best recipe, but I do enjoy horror movies. There are some good horror movies that have come out. Smile is a good example of a good horror movie. What's it called? The one with the robot girl. Um, what's the one with the robot girl? It's like somebody's name. It's a girl's name. You guys in the audience remember what that is. That was a good one. There was another one where it's like a hand and you got to hold the hand. That was a good one. Um, there was a bunch of really good ones where they don't just focus on jump scares. Yes, if the horror movie is just all about jump scares, then it kind of is not great. Um, but the point is, the commitment level of the production is much lower. Their budgets are much smaller, and as a result, they can return a profit better. And really, at the end of the day, I know it sounds weird to talk about profits. Oh, it's all about profits, but really it is. If they can make a movie make money, then they can make more movies that make money. And movies that make money are generally movies that we want to watch. Movies that don't make money, like the Marvels or Ant-Man, or all these ones that have massive budgets, um, sometimes fail because of their own massive budgets. The budget actually is what kills them, because they try to do too much, and they also are too paranoid about losing all that money. So what they do is they have like focus groups and all this kind of committee like deciding how the movie should be made, and then what ends up happening is you get this really crappy movie that has a huge budget and has to make $3 billion in order to break even kind of level. It's insane the way that they think. So there are some really great movies out there that have more modest budgets and that tell a good story. A good example of that is Battle Angel, Alita Battle Angel actually. Um, that was a good movie. I really enjoyed that movie. The critics didn't like it because it wasn't progressive, but it was a good movie. Um, we need more superhero musicals. I don't agree with that. I'm not a big fan of musicals, so I'm not going to agree with that. But you're probably talking about the new Joker movie, which will be a musical, which I'm not super keen about. One sec here. I think a lot of the money for Disney big budget movies lately gets laundered out to somewhere because the money sure does not show up in the movie. Yeah. I have a feeling, as I said, what ends up happening is they go through these focus groups. Like when they shoot these movies, they actually spend a lot of time shooting the movie. And what they'll do is because they put so much money into it, the editing, the actors, all this kind of stuff, um, they really worry about protecting that investment. So they'll put it into a focus group and then they'll say, oh, they don't like the ending, they don't like this part, we got to change that. So then what they do is they reshoot that, they re-edit it, they get the actors back in, film more scenes, or they do some kind of crazy stuff, and then then they run it by the focus group again, and then they repeat the process 20 times, and then you get this mishmash of like weird things, and it just doesn't work. Um, that's a real problem in modern movies. Are anime heroes way more powerful than heroes from DC and other other comic superheroes? They can be. Um, you get super powerful ones in DC and Marvel. Like you get like ones like Spectre is ultra powerful. Galactus, those are super powerful ones in the Marvel universe. In anime, you get characters that I'm trying to think of a super powerful character. You get like Hunter x Hunter kind of characters where they have like you know uh very strong abilities against other strong characters, where it's much more of a one-on-one kind of basis. You don't really have in anime the world-threatening events. If you look at most anime, it's really a struggle between heroes or different tribes. Whereas in Marvel and DC, it's usually like a much bigger story where it's like, saving the universe or saving the planet or something like that. So it's a little different. So the powers are more related to the scope of where the involvement is. But I do like anime. Um, what's that girl? I had my doubts, but Alita was a decent film. The original anime was quite expensive to buy now. I really enjoyed it too. Actually, I have all the comics from it as well. Um, Alan, your favorite action movie from from the 80s? Um, my favorite action movie from the 80s. I mean, I would actually have to say Predator. Predator or Aliens 2. I really liked Aliens 2. One of those two. I would say one of those two. Either Aliens 2 or like I really liked Aliens 2. Like I thought it was a great movie. I've watched it like a billion times. But I also really enjoyed Predator. Also liked The Running Man. I thought that was a great movie. I really enjoyed The Running Man. I was a big fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger when I was a kid. So yeah, so those would be some of them. Um, when I heard they were making Avengers movie, I was disappointed that Hank Pym and Janet Van Dylan wasn't going to be in 2012. The same way the Green Lantern wasn't in Justice League. Yeah, I mean, it's always good when they have the original characters that were actually part of the original Avengers team. Um, but I felt like they did a good job of the Avengers actually in terms of the movies. It was a slightly different team than the original team from the Silver Age comics, but I thought they did a good job. Uh, Anime is formulaic, goon, comic relief, screaming, and inconsistent power levels. Um, there's more to it than that, Stephen. Anime, there's a lot of intelligence that goes into the scene. It is a formula, and generally, like I I know that people that's always a negative term. Like, oh, it's formulaic. It's not that creative. However, formulas are designed for a purpose. Okay. Um, they actually work. For example, one of the most common formulas until recent modern audiences um, was boy gets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl. And that arc of a story actually works. It's a formula that if you look at most 80s movies, most movies before the 80s even, they had that arc in them, the most common arc. And it's a formula that works because people like seeing the boy get the girl. They can relate to the boy losing the girl, and they like that love conquers all and the guy gets the girl back. Well, anime is basically understanding those working formulas and just applies them. So within anime, you have the different character types that we can relate to. You have the situation of the hero trying to overcome a villain that is overpowered, and that there's no possible way this poor hero guy is going to overcome this big baddie guy. And there's those kind of things are formulas, but they are formulas that people can relate to and people like. So there's nothing wrong with being formulaic. Um, Dragon Ball was quite a few world threatening villains, even gods and super in the newer super series. So I didn't watch Dragon Ball. So I watch anime, but I didn't watch Dragon Ball. I know that Dragon Ball was, yes, a much bigger scope. I know that he was after this one wish kind of level thing that would give him kind of godlike powers, but I didn't really watch Dragon Ball. Um, I watched a bunch of series. I actually watch a lot of anime, but I didn't watch Dragon Ball. And probably I'm kind of lame for not watching it. I feel the same way. Very hurt Ant-Man and the Wasp were not in the first Avengers. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think they could have brought in. Um, they wanted to. I don't know why they decided to go with like Scott Lang instead of Hank Pym. I'm not sure why they went that way, but that was the decision they made, and I think I like the guy that played Ant-Man. Now he's kind of losing that. He's kind of lame nowadays, but but he was originally, I kind of enjoyed the first Ant-Man movie. Um, yeah, I don't know. I wish they had done it differently. Probably would be the best way to say it. But I enjoyed the original Avengers movies. Okay, I got that. What's your favorite extra movie from the 90s? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what extra movie is. You got to tell me, Candlestick. I find anime foreign, confused, and lots of screaming with threat talk. Yeah, there are some good animes, Stephen. Like Death Note is a really, really well done anime. Um, the one that I'm watching right now is a series called 100 Girlfriends That Really, Really Love You. It's really good. It's humorous. It's everything's over the top. It's, it is what it is. It's typical anime, but I enjoy it. It's definitely one that's fun. Another anime that I enjoy is Elfriend, or Friendren, something like that. It's the elf that lives 1,000 years. There are some really good animes. What's another one that's really good? Oh, what's the one? I'm trying to remember it. Sword Art Online is really good. There's some really good animes. Yeah, it's maybe an acquired taste. But for the most part, I really do enjoy anime. Um, so yeah, I like the Ultimate Avengers comic when all the Avengers were sitting down and they were casting each other, and Nick Fury said, "I will be played by Samuel Jackson." That was cool. That is funny, actually. So he's very prophetic. The funny thing is Nick Fury. He's I think David Hasselhoff would have been actually a good choice for Nick Fury. Um, he was the original choice for Nick Fury, but it just didn't happen. But yeah, I wish, like, Samuel Jackson. I liked Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury the first few years of him being it, but the last few movies with him being Nick Fury, I felt were really, really weak. Like, I feel like he's just, you know, showing up now. I think he's given up. He's been so wussified that I was just reading actually a whole bunch of Nick Fury comics recently. Um, and I wish he was that guy from the comics. He's so much more badass in the comics. He puts his life at risk. He like does things to just, and he's like totally like uh tough guy, and makes fun of other people for not being tough guys, and it's like he's really cool. I like Nick Fury in the comics, but in the movies I found him a bit iffy, not as cool as he could have been. I've been watching anime since the late 90s. Same. I've been watching one of my friends in the 90s got me into anime. The first movie I watched was like Akira, and like I got really into anime after that. Then Bubblegum Crisis, AD Police, whole bunch of like. I also watched anime in the 80s actually with Battle of the Planets and all those ones. But so I grew up with all the over the top stories and characters. Yeah, I mean as I said, it's really like you have to understand Japanese culture when you when you go to Japan. They have like a very stoic personality, and that's why when you watch the anime they are really over the top, because they're they're exaggerating to compensate for their own stoic personalities. It makes sense. You got to understand that whole culture though. um I like the original Nick Fury movie, I was but it was a little too campy. Yeah. One sec here. My bad. I mean, action movie from the 90s. My bad, made an error. My favorite action movie from the 90s was The Matrix. So that came out at the very end of the 90s. I was a big Matrix fan. Akira Akira was lush. Laugh a minute. Yeah. Akira is one of those movies that didn't really make sense if you think about it, but I did enjoy it. I like the powers. Like they had this like, that was like world building powers. Those are kind of world awesome powers. I really did enjoy that. Um, in the comic, Nick Fury loses an eye to a grenade. In the movie, he loses an eye to a cat. I know that was like, uh, that was one of the worst things that they ever did. Almost like they hated the character that they were working with. Just really sad. Akira was a great film. Ghost in the Shell. That's another good one. I actually really enjoyed Ghost in the Shell as well. Really enjoyed that. Um, oh, where are some other great movies? It's like it's so funny. Like, you know, I feel like once you watch an anime series, then you move on to the next one. And you forget all the ones you've watched. Because I've watched so many. Oh, there's one that a series. If you guys, I'm curious if you guys have ever watched this one. This is an anime series. It's called Steins Gate. It is amazing, really good anime series. Steins Gate. So look it up, watch it. It's a great series. So Steins Gate. I think it's like 5 or 6 years old now. But it was basically they have this microwave. It's a microwave, and the microwave allows them to change time, send things back in time, alter the past slightly. Um, and there's consequences when they try to change the past. It's almost like the butterfly effect, and it's a really cool story series where they're trying to fix the past, because if they don't, their friends will die. So it's a really good movie. What's another or TV series? What's another good one I really enjoyed? There was something similar to that. Um, yeah, I'm trying to remember them. Do you think Iron Man can be played by Johnny Depp, or and Thor played by WWE wrestler Triple In? I don't know about who that is. Um, But having a WWE wrestler play Thor might be cool. And, you need sort of some big guy. I actually like the guy that Chris Hemsworth playing Thor. I thought he was really good. It's just that the script kind of failed him more than, I think he's tired of the scripts too. So definitely not, not what it should have been. I watched all the Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. I liked it. Years later, I began collecting the anime hentai figures. Uh, then one day I walked into a room and saw them and shocked me. And then they threw them out. You should have kept them. You should have sold them. Those are worth a lot. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. You should probably kept them. Yeah, Steins Gate was awesome. See, somebody actually knows it. I own all the figures and the Blu-ray. See, Steins Gate is an awesome, awesome series. That was a good series. So yeah, I don't know. I've watched, I feel like a bit of a loser. I watch all these shows. So just so you know, I work and watch things. So I've watched a ton of content out there because I'm working and watching stuff. So that's the great thing. Wrestlers are notoriously bad actors. Yes, for the most part, you're right about that. I don't care how much money The Rock makes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they always have that kind of, you talk about anime being over the top in terms of the way they express themselves. Wrestlers are the same way. It's very much over the top emotion, over the top acting, and that doesn't translate well to the big screen. It just comes across as hammy rather than as a serious thing. And not many wrestlers can get that out of their system. So it's really hard for them to act like people, like to act like normal. So yeah, that is an issue. I think Triple H is too old to play Thor, but maybe he could do Odin. Okay, Triple H. I've heard of Triple H. I don't know my wrestlers that well. Um, I have a friend who's as nerdy as me, and I said to him, it would be funny if it would be funny if it would be it would be funny if two nerds dated and one proposed with a Green Lantern ring. He laughed and said, I wish I thought of that. Yeah, that'd be cool. My wife is not nerdy. I would have done that if my wife was nerdy. I would have given her like a Green Lantern ring. Um, yeah, my wife's not nerdy at all, and she hates anime. Really hates anime. So very different personalities that way. But she likes movies. She just doesn't like anime. Um, just like Ultron in the MCU, Ultron was created by Tony Stark, but in the comics, he was created by Hank Pym. That's I know little things like that. They changed little things. Um, they try to. I think they try to work with what they have. You know, if you try to bring all the comic elements in, there it's just too much story to tell, and they have to make those kind of decisions what they can work with. It's sort of like when they introduce certain things, they have to sort of say, okay, we can work with those characters and not, they. It is what it is. You got to work with what you have. Um, Last time I saw wrestling, I saw some big emo chick beating on the guy, and changed the channel immediately. I haven't watched wrestling since I was a kid. I haven't watched wrestling for a really long time. When Hulk Hogan was wrestling, that's when I was watching wrestling. I did watch a bit with the Undertaker and who else? Jake the Snake, I believe it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to remember like the old wrestling people. When it was called WWF, that's how long it's been. So, now that it's called WWE, I just totally not related to it. Um, so yeah, so I'm an old guy, I guess. I remember as a kid, we'd always like throw your like we'd climb up on the desks in my class and then jump onto each other. It's just like a thing you'd do as a kid. You know, nowadays if you did that, you'd probably get kicked out of school. Yeah, yeah, boys can't be boys anymore. But yeah, I enjoyed that. I was like, I was small, but I'd get right in there and I'd always be sore the next day, but I'd do those crazy things. As a kid, you don't really think about the consequences too much. But yeah, I loved that part of wrestling, the whole acting part of it. We all knew it was fake, it was fun, but it was fun. Um, uh, Actually, that was one thing speaking of wrestling, there was a movie that I really liked with the wrestler. It's called The Wrestler. What's the guy's name? Um, but they showed that wrestling is real but fake. Like, where they actually cut themselves and they do all these things that are actually pretty real. And they can get really injured. But it is choreographed. So I thought that was really interesting. Their take on the legitimacy of wrestling. I thought that was really interesting. I think it was called The Wrestler, and it had the guy from 16 Weeks or whatever, is the famous guy, Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke, that's the guy. I almost ran into Mickey Rourke once. I walked by him actually. So what happened was, when I was living in Toronto, he was filming some movie, and I accidentally walked on set. They weren't too happy with me, so I walked right by Mickey Rourke, and it was like, "This is a closed set." Like, they're like trying to scoot me off. So I just accidentally, I was like totally being oblivious, and I walked on set, and I walked right by Mickey Rourke. So yeah, it's kind of funny. Um, so yeah, I was a bit of a goof. I didn't know. So yeah, but he looks really rough in person. He's in really, his face is messed up. I think he's been taking way too many punches to the face. Um, so he's a interesting guy. But I really enjoyed The Wrestler. That was a good movie though. And yeah, so I don't know. I'm not a big wrestler guy. Um, yeah, so I didn't even have to show any comics, and I babbled for like an hour and a half. So I just want to quickly wrap this up. Actually, I want to quickly thank everyone that's been watching for the last hour and a half, and thanks for everyone that voted for me for the award that I won right behind me. And I want to say thanks again. Keep on watching my channel. Tell your friends to watch my channel. Tell your grandparents to watch my channel. Tell everybody to watch my channel. I need more subscribers. I want to get to 10,000 subscribers so that I can be cool with my kids. I thought the award would work. I thought, hey, this is it. They will finally think I'm cool, but didn't work. My kids didn't think I was cool. So I need your help. Help me get some subscribers. Help me become cool in my kids' eyes. And yeah, thanks again for watching. And thanks again for voting for me. I really do appreciate it. Bye for now.